Yeah, man. Famous cartoonist Art Baltazar, as you see. Abraham Lincoln's with me, and we are watching, and you are watching. Famous cartoonists draw at night. They draw at night, by night. We're all here together, man. Buy their comics, buy my comics, shop.
Welcome to Cartoonist by Night. I am your host, Anthony Laatsch. I am joined here with Matt Rodgers and D. Brad Gibson and our very special guest, all the way from the Oh Yeah Comics in beautiful downtown Skokie neighborhood, Chris O'Connell. How's it going, Chris?
Good. How are you guys?
Awesome.
So yes, what Cartoonist by Night likes to do is that we were all formed through the love of All Yeah Comics, and with me going down to beautiful downtown Skokie over the last handful of years, getting to meet the local artists, and Chris is one of those that I always see there at the shop, whether it's just for a hangout event and sometimes the drawing and all that kind of fun stuff. So it was meant to be to have Chris part of Cartoonist by Night. And what we do when we have our guest on, we have them select a topic. So let our audience know, Chris, when you were given the basically the blanket invite to just pick anything you want, it could be as specific or vague. What is that topic you chose?
I chose Darwyn Cooke.
Excellent. And so what we're going to do here is going to be discussing the work and the life of Darwyn Cooke as we kind of draw and discuss throughout this episode. And then we'll be learning more about Chris as well. So what we're going to do is kick it off here with Matt Rodgers as we're going to find out if you had any idea what you're going to be working on for tonight's episode.
No.
No.
So thank you for joining us, Matt Rodgers. Oh, wait.
I'll see you guys later.
So I'm going to assume
he timed out.
So I'm going to assume that either you're going to be working on something that you can't show, or you're just going to be working in the moment.
It's gonna be a thing that I can't show, but it's par for the course for me.
For sure. All right, let's jump over to D. Brad now. We do see one of your screens there, seeing some awesome drawings. So what are you going to be working on for this episode?
Well, these awesome drawings are Darwyn Cooke of Catwoman, a redesign he did when he did a Catwoman series with, I think it was with Ed Brubaker.
Yeah, Brubaker.
And with the goggles. And so this is just a reference page for me for the costume, what the costume looks like. And so I'm just drawing a few Catwoman poses, but it's actually my own character, and I'm just putting the character in a Catwoman costume. And then another character of mine is based on Lee Marvin, the actor from The Dirty Dozen, and he was also in Point Blank, which is an adaptation of the Parker novels, and those Parker novels were adapted by Darwyn Cooke, and he has a Catwoman story where he designed a character who looked like Lee Marvin named Stark, and Stark is the pseudonym of the author who wrote the Parker books. So
yeah,
those are my Darwyn Cooke related ideas. That's what I came up with.
Now, you say you're going to put one of your characters in a Catwoman costume. Are we taking requests? Because can we get Loop in there?
Yeah, I could probably do him in a Catwoman costume.
That's a small advertisement to check out our most recent episode as we saw this happen. But yeah, I just had it right.
It'll probably be the cuter one.
Okay.
I was in lab episode.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, let's jump over to Chris. Do you have any idea what you're going to be working on for tonight?
I was thinking of doing something with Dr. Fate, probably.
Ooh.
Cool, cool.
Just
And then I'm going
because
to.
nobody uses them too much, unfortunately.
Well, there we go. Now we're going to take advantage of that and have Dr. Fate on Cartoonist by Night. So, what I'm going to be working on, I'm jumping, even though the last couple episodes I was working on some digital stuff, but I had an idea to do a sketch card here. And I'm going to be working on a character in a Darwyn Cooke style, the way he draws female characters. And I was looking at a beautiful, very well known Wonder Woman pinup. But I am going to make this woman Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah.
Looking back at the never created Buffy the Animated Series, there was a test pilot, and I like some of the designs there, and seeing some of the shapes and stuff like that. It's very reminiscent of a Darwyn Cooke type of style, and just the way like the jaw lines and the chins and stuff like that. And I'm just like, oh, I think Buffy would fit in that pose. So I'm using the Wonder Woman pose, but armed her with a stake there. So I'm going to be attempting a Buffy, but in a Darwyn Cooke style.
Awesome.
Cool. So that is the introduction to what we are drawing here. So we can go off to the races, and we're going to go through and talk about Darwyn Cooke, as well as Chris O'Connell. So what we're going to do, let's start with Darwyn. Now with Chris, with you selecting Darwyn as your topic, do you kind of want to, let our audience know just kind of your interest in choosing Darwyn and things like that?
I think he was one of the pioneers for kind of like bouncing in between animation and comics, and then also doing graphic novels as well. He has a lot of different, stylized. You could see the Kirby influence and also like Steranko. Quite a few others. I was just noticing with his ink work, actually Joe Kubert is like one of his, and I really never noticed that before until I looked at the inks, and I was like, oh yeah, that's definitely Joe. so it's pretty wild when you actually I guess spend the time to just like look into somebody and what they do.
Yeah, just studying the style and the influences and everything.
Right.
And do you have any favorite works that Darwyn has worked on, just in comics or maybe just designs? Any stories or anything like that you want to talk about?
Can't even remember the name of it. Sorry.
What characters are in it?
Is it the New Frontier? Sorry, I couldn't think of it.
New Frontier. So I'm gonna go over to here. So these, speaking of Skokie, I had bought these in a live show back when Bernie and Joe would do some of their Saturday morning, afternoon, whatever, live sales. And they were selling both of these trades here. Now, I do have to admit that these have been on the ever-growing to-read pile. But now that we're talking about Darwyn, I had to pull them out for reference. And then they're going to stay on the very top of the pile so I can actually go through. I've never read this. I don't read a lot of DC, but I respect Darwyn's work there. But so I'm just showing that off there to New Frontier. So probably is this like the thing you would think, like what he's most known for, like when you think Darwyn Cooke?
Probably.
Depends who the audience is.
Yeah.
That's probably what most people would know him from, I would think.
Matt Rodgers.
Yeah. I would say that everybody knows him from that, or am I wrong? Did he have something to do with the opening credit scene for Batman the Animated Series?
Yeah.
No, for Batman Beyond. Batman Beyond.
Beyond. Okay.
Yeah, animated. He actually animated it himself.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Matt Rodgers, future Anthony is going to have a field day with that one because we've been down this route before, and I'm gonna dig something up for a fun little fun little moment there. So I can't wait to revisit that.
If I remember correctly, Darwyn Cooke like storyboarded the intro.
That was Batman Beyond.
Batman Beyond, yeah.
Batman Beyond. Never mind then. Um,
I'll cut that out.
yeah, make me look smart.
I'll do an edit where you say that every like 10 minutes, and then
Yeah,
it's just being
Darwyn Cooke, fellas.
Gonna be a flashback scene.
It might be. I think Deborah talking about
Oh,
it.
man, this guy can't remember anything.
Darwyn Cooke, fellas.
I'm a fan, I promise.
Oh, I know what's going on. Okay.
Yeah, knows. So Matt Rodgers, Darwyn Cooke. Do you have anything you want to kick it off with related you want to share?
I was always a fan of his art style because it's that like he nailed that classic like 50s 60s comic book style, and it suits DC really well because they had prominence back then.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't really, I mean, you could, but like something like Spider-Man based in the 50s wouldn't have the same look to it as when he draws like Hal Jordan and stuff like that. I know mostly from New Frontier and when he did the Spirit. And what else? What's that other thing? See, I get him confused a lot with Tim Sale because they both kind of have that throwback art style. Because Superman Confidential, that was, I think Tim Sale did the covers for that.
He did. Darwyn Cooke did a Marvel one. Was it Tangled Web? I think it's called about Spider-Man.
Well,
because he was also influenced by John Romita.
Oh yeah.
John Romita. That's awesome. That New Frontier is the first time I believe the group is called the Losers, the military side story in there. That's the first time I ever encountered them, and I was just like, "What's this army stuff?" And then you turn the page, and you're like, "Oh, there's dinosaurs. I'm into it." I dig dinosaurs. That's cool.
Yeah.
Are we talking, like Earl Sinclair dinosaurs, not the mama? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
That would have been even better.
Sinclair, get in here.
We need to get that as a reboot.
Heck yeah.
That was an awesome show.
If you have Disney Plus, it's on there. Unless it's only on in Canada.
Yeah, it was at one point here, but yeah, who knows if it's disappeared at all. But jump over to D Brad. You want to talk about some Darwyn Cooke and any thing that you like or inspirations and such?
I'm trying to remember when I first heard of him, but it might have been when I was doing storyboards. I learned I was getting some education on storyboards because he did a lot of storyboards for Batman Beyond, and he did some for Superman, the animated series, and the newer Batman Adventures. And they're just like his style is just like he can make a nose with just like if you look at this picture here, he makes a nose out of just two little lines. That's a nose. Like simple, but at the same time, you can tell he works in animation because all of his poses are very dynamic, and he needs very little dialogue, very little dialogue.
Oh geez,
tell a story with just pictures. That's what I'm looking for in a comic. Yeah.
And D Brad just had a special delivery. Look at that.
Yeah, I summoned like.
Yeah, when you're talking about the two lines that make up a nose, that's like one of those things that I will try because I see other artists do it, but no matter what, I can't do it the right way.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I'm gonna try that. Looks like crap. Never mind.
Yeah, it's funny when you're saying that because I kind of reworked the pencils on the Buffy nose here, and it just might be something that I'm just gonna copy whatever he did for Wonder Woman and just not even go for a Buffy nose and just be like, all right, I'm just going to just try to do what he did there, and
Yeah.
not think too much of it, but
But I'm a really big fan of his work with the crime books that he did, the Richard Stark books.
Mhm.
Those are so good because I actually read a Richard Stark book because um, before that, because for me, I need books that have kind of a fast pace, very little description, where it only has what you need to know in it, and that's how the Parker books are written. They're stark. That's why he came up with the name Richard Stark, because there's not. And when he wrote his other books with more narration and inner thoughts of the characters, then he went by his real name. Was it Donald Westlake?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is funny because to me, Donald Westlake sounds way more like a pen name.
Yeah.
That's-
Donald Westlake, Richard Stark. Richard Stark sounds like a character name, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like my favorite part about the Parker books is I love people that are so good that they can just do like a two color palette,
Yeah.
and he does it. You can tell that that dude is a complete expert because what one of them's red and one of them's blue, I think.
Yeah.
Here's my copy of the score,
Score.
oh,
Yeah.
wow.
and it is orange.
Oh yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
Beautiful.
Love it.
I want
Um,
to check in with Chris. Are you able to switch to your draw screen at all, or
Uh,
is this
let's try it and see how it works.
is if it works for you? Feel free to if you want to leave it on that one for a while, unless you had any other show and tell later. But that way we can see some updates if you got it. So
I don't know if you can see it. Hold on 1 second. Sorry.
no problem. While he does that, I wanted to bring up a couple. I reached out to our Cartoonist by Night fans, the people that respond, and let me see here. Now, I had a question that was going to be any questions for just the Cartoonist by Night happy dudes, because I posted that picture where we're all looking sad, celebrating.
yeah. Yeah.
I just happened to grab that real grim one, and then Tunes by Troy wrote in. And Tunes by Troy. Now, it's a quote apparently from a pop culture character.
Oh.
So I'm gonna try to do the voice, but I got to say one phrase to get into the voice, and this is all from Troy. And who knows if I'll keep this? Future Anthony might get rid of it, but
Okay.
they're nice. How come yous are so good with the pencil scratching? So that's what Tunes by Troy wanted to know. How, and I'll translate it for everybody, is how come you guys are so good with the pencil drawings? So that's what Tunes by Troy, one of the members of Cartoonist by Night, wants to know about us. Let's start with Deep. How come you're so good with the pencil scritchings?
Scritchins.
Well, because every time I have a pencil, I'm drawing. I don't. So it's practice and practice and practice.
Yeah, I debated maybe I'd just delete that, but I think Troy'd probably have a good time hearing that. So Troy, I'm going to leave that in just so you can.
That's for you, Troy.
Or he was
Yeah,
expecting. He's like,
Troy.
well, no way he's putting that in the show, but he wrote in. So,
He obviously doesn't know you very well.
Matt Rodgers, how did you get so good with the pencil scritchings?
I'm going to give an answer that's not going to make anybody happy.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Always a plus.
Uh-oh.
D. Brad is the best with the pencil scritchings because I ink my own work and my pencils suck. They're boring to look at because I know what it's going to look like when it's inked. So I have like the most basic crappy.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, so I'm not good at pencil scritchings. This is gonna be a teaser.
Ooh, a
but
teaser.
There's my pencil scritchings. They're boring.
Yeah. So you do like a layout and then you finish with your inks.
Yeah, because I scan them, I ink digitally. I was gonna ink it all by hand, and then I was like, I'm not a crazy person. I don't have the time for that right now. I wish I did. A darn day job.
Yeah, I understand what you mean about the pencil scritchings, and when I work digitally, I usually go extremely loose and just kind of do more of the drawing in the inking stage, which I know our Baltazar usually does, and I think I just like seeing the progress come faster. So I don't do a lot of sketches. I don't do a lot of practice work, and I probably should. And there's things I could definitely learn, but just whenever I draw a lot of things, I just kind of want to get to the fun parts, and I enjoy just kind of seeing it come together. When I work physically, like with this one, I had more of the pencil sketches done for this Buffy piece ahead of time, just so that I can, especially for a show where I don't have to concentrate too much on deciding on what the details are going to be, and I can keep paying attention to you guys and everything like that. And so yeah. Chris, now we're seeing a physical medium for you here, but you work both in digital and physical. But how do you
Right.
get so good with your pencil scritchings, if you will?
Um, I'm getting better, and it's, I don't know, how would you call it? It's a work in progress, I always say.
Okay, sure.
I've always like inks better.
Mhm.
I've always been that guy.
Yeah, yeah.
I
So much
guess
more
like
fun.
everybody's different, right?
And
That
we've talked about it in the past episodes and everything, just talking about our likes and dislikes with physical and digital. Do you want to kind of let the audience know um, what you prefer, and maybe strengths and weaknesses, or what you like about either of the mediums?
Um, I like digital because you can kind of blow things up and kind of take things out. The only thing I don't like about it, and maybe I haven't gotten used to it yet, is like the feel of the pencil or the utensil that you're using, whether it be even digital inks or whatever. It doesn't seem, at least for me yet, to get to the point of the same feel, I guess
Yeah,
I'd say.
I think Rogers mentioned it in our last episode, just talking about he likes the feel of the physical paper opposed to drawing on glass, and just kind of finding that
well,
comfortable.
one thing that has really helped me with that is so I use a Wacom Cintiq to do digital work, and the default nibs that come on the stylus
Mhm.
are plastic. But
Uh,
I ordered off of Amazon, I got a 4-pack of titanium nibs,
yeah.
Oh.
and they feel different enough. There's a little bit more texture to it when you're working on flat glass. And I've noticed an improvement as far as that goes.
Oh,
And
titanium.
when I was working with an iPad, I had an Apple Pencil, and that sucked because it was like super smooth plastic tip against super smooth glass. But then they make those like paper-like overlays that you can get that add texture to the iPad. And then I saw this ad that it was like these little rubber tips that you can put on the Apple Pencil that give it a
Right.
little bit of resistance. And I guess that helps out people. And I was going to get those, but then I don't have my iPad anymore, so I didn't get them. Yeah, it's super cool.
Cool. Thanks for the advice.
Yeah, the biggest thing I was worried about was that the titanium was going to like scratch the crap out of my Wacom or something, but nothing. It's perfect.
My
Huh.
drawing tablet has a sticker cover you put on it
Mhm.
that it's not slippery. It makes it more like paper.
Yeah. So I've seen like there's a brand called Paperlike that is an actual like sticker sort of thing that is hard to take off, but then there's a new brand that makes magnetic ones that you can just slap on there and
Oh
then you
yeah.
can take them off really easily.
Yeah, I haven't tried to take mine off.
And you never will.
Yeah.
Not with that attitude. Sorry.
Let's jump back over to Chris and kind of learn about your journey as an artist. Do you have any memories of when you started drawing? Any fond memories as a kid, or has it come to you in adult life? Kind of let us know where you and art met. Not Art Baltazar, but art. We'll get to that too. But art in general, how you met the creation of making art.
Gosh, goes back to like a really pretty young age of probably like a lot of people, like in high school. I think you at one point you learn a love for music and just like start drawing and kind of emulating the people who you admire the most, I guess. Most of mine as a kid, obviously were the guys before Image came along. Todd McFarlane, a lot of those guys were definitely inspirations when I was in school, in high school, before they kind of just went boom, they're huge now, right?
Yeah. Man.
And McFarlane, never heard of him.
Canadian. He's Canadian.
Yeah, he is. It's a good thing he sucked at baseball.
Was there a certain point that if you're just like drawing in school, like a certain moment that kind of clicked with you, where you just, like how often do you draw? Like how much is being an artist part of your everyday life in that sense? There, are you drawing every day and stuff like that?
Yeah, I draw pretty much about every day. Some days I have to take a break because you know how your hand sometimes gets jammed up sometimes, so you have to just kind of take it easy. But
oh yeah,
for the most part, yeah.
And then when you take that break, you're probably picking up Darwyn Cooke comic books and reading and stuff, and then you just gotta watch the fingers as you flip those pages. Gotta be gentle.
Now there was other artists that were influences besides McFarlane, obviously. I mean, I was a huge John Buscema fan, from the days of like Conan, stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
And even
love Conan.
Can't think. Later on I found, Barry Windsor Smith and all those guys too.
Barry.
When it comes
also
to
a Conan guy.
When it comes to your comic reading, Chris, is there certain titles, not just Darwin related stuff, but just in general, what kind of a comic book reader are you? You prefer the mainstream stuff, certain indie stuff? Kind of give us a little crash course on what's in the collection of Chris O'Connell.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I like a lot of horror books, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, there's definitely, superhero stuff in there outside of the fantasy books, Briar, Kaya, some of those books that really kind of appeal to me. I know the art style is very I wouldn't call it simplistic, but it's very very unique in that, like, it, those guys like have to meet, a deadline, and they're really good at getting all the artwork done in a certain time using, limited palettes and everything else. It's pretty interesting.
Cool. I do have another question here geared up, so I'm going to go to that real quick. This is from Brian Lynch from Hot Wing of Justice over on Instagram. Brian Lynch is wondering about Chris, is that what inspires Chris in his artistic pursuits? So, we talk about, some of the influences and things like that, but when you get excited to, draw what you draw, where does that inspiration come from as a core?
Believe it or not, a lot of it comes from like album covers, too. Because I like a lot of artists that 80s, whatever artists that like do album covers. Derek Riggs, the guy who does like Iron Maiden.
Oh yeah.
A lot of his covers, I used to love that guy. Trying to think.
Eddie?
The Dean brothers, I love those guys. Those guys are just amazing. I mean, even their installations that they do. I was like amazed that like Yes like had all these really amazing things going on that I never even knew.
So cool.
So
Yes.
yeah, and the artist known as Pusshead, he does like a lot of really interesting stuff. But I know it's
all right.
Pusshead.
Yeah.
That sounds familiar to me.
Yeah.
Nothing. I got nothing.
Okay.
I got nothing.
I do like that question from Brian, and I think we can kind of go around. If Matt Rodgers, is there kind of what inspires your artistic pursuits?
I've mentioned it on the show before, but I got into comic books relatively late, and I got more out of comic strips when I was a kid. So I was big in my age group. I'm 41, so Calvin and Hobbes was the main thing for me. I like adventure strips, like the big, like Steve Canyon, that sort of thing. Milton Caniff is from this area, so that's pretty cool.
Awesome.
And then as far as like comic books go, I jumped into books big time, like mainstream with when 52 was happening, not the new 52, but like the series 52.
Oh, the that one. Oh yeah. I
Or
read
the
that one.
weekly. That's what made me fall in love with Booster Gold.
Yeah.
And 'cause he's such
Yeah,
an
he
awesome
he was
character.
a big star, that one.
Yeah. And I was just like, who's this guy with the sponsorship logos all over him? Because that's like the coolest idea in the world.
Yeah.
And then learning his backstory. So I got really into him. And then just from seeing comics and stuff, artist wise, there's like Francesco Francavilla. That dude's amazing.
Yeah.
And then lately I've been for a project that I'm working on that isn't announced yet, but I've been diving into like early 90s image stuff.
Right.
Which is awesome because the good thing when books sell 5 million copies is you can find them very easy and they're always under $1. Like I bought one that has like a certificate of authenticity and it's signed by Jay Lee and it's numbered out of 14,000. And I'm that
awesome.
certificate of authenticity doesn't mean anything if it's out of 14,000. So but yeah, that kind of stuff's really good. Lately I've been more into like the more indie stuff. I don't know if you can really call Jeff Smith indie anymore. I think you can, but
Yeah.
Because all his stuff, that Bone stuff that made it into mainstream is reprints of his indie stuff.
yeah, he did all of his own self-publishing and then Image picked it up for a little while.
Yeah.
And then he went back to self-publishing and then he has the big famous one volume that I think I saw him update his social media like within the past couple of months that just went into like its 26th printing.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, because I was flipping through the brand new catalog, I think it might be 29th in the new catalog.
Yeah, and it finally got a new cover this time. Like and I found out a little bit of info for that. He actually had to talk to Bible printers to find somebody that could print something high quality with that many pages that wouldn't fall apart.
Oh, yeah. Did it have thin pages too?
No, that's the thing that's weird.
Mhm.
It's just like, but just the fact that it's so beefy.
Yeah.
But that stuff's awesome. I've been getting into the old EC horror and sci-fi stuff lately. I'm a huge fan of Tintin.
Oh wow.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
I've got all the Tintins just right there.
yeah, I got this really cool. Oh,
There's small versions.
Yeah. Did you get the red box set?
Mine's blue, but it probably has all the same books. Mine's blue.
Yeah, that's pretty cool because the very first book, if yours is the same as mine, it has the very first story is like really crappy black and white art.
Okay.
And it's like proto Tintin. It's weird.
Yeah.
Like it's him, but it's just like you can tell that he hadn't quite figured everything out yet, but it's still better than anything that I'll ever put out.
What's that one called?
The Adventures of Tintin in the Land of the Soviets.
Wow.
Oh, okay, that one I think is in. I don't know. Maybe I don't have that one in here. Looks like
Yeah,
the Blue Lotus is the first one, and then at the end there's Tintin and Company. I think that one has some of the earlier stuff in it. Maybe that, but it's at the end, not the
Blue
beginning.
Lotus is the fourth one in my set.
Yeah, cool.
Oh,
Right.
oh yeah, and I've also been really getting into Love and Rockets.
Oh yeah.
Damn.
That's one of the best black and white art ever made.
Jimenez
Those
Or
dudes,
Hernandez.
they're amazing. So good, but I can't get that box. I had the big Fantagraphics box set of the first 50 is what it's called, and it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's 9 oversized hardcovers and a big slipcase. It's huge. But that I've said it on other episodes. That's what got me into bright yellow. It's like I've got to do everything in bright yellow because they do.
What do you mean they do it in bright yellow? What does that mean?
Like they do a lot of covers that have like 100% yellow coloring.
Oh, okay.
And it's super eye-catching, and so that's why you'll see some yellow showing up because I always thought that purple was the color that sold covers, but
Oh,
for Matt Rodgers, it's yellow.
okay.
Yeah,
Matt-
Sweet.
and
Yeah.
Usagi Yojimbo. I'm big into that.
Oh, me too. Yeah, I have all those.
They're so good.
Yeah, they're awesome. They're so good.
That dude. And he's such an adorable old man. I love that guy. Old Stan.
Yeah.
I enjoyed what I saw of the Netflix cartoon, but I was kind of disappointed that it wasn't like real, quote unquote, real Usagi Yojimbo.
Yeah. Yeah, just some flat. I don't know if it was flashbacks, but
Yeah, it was like almost like Sumi brush sort of stuff. It was
Yeah.
really cool. But yeah, I wasn't a big fan of I didn't like that he did it in 3D, and I didn't like that it wasn't him as the main character, but you take what you can get.
you take the good, you take the bad.
The facts of life.
Facts of life.
If you could be any character from Facts of Life, who would you be?
Would I be?
I don't know any of their names.
I'd
So
be
that one.
Alice. I'd be Alice the maid. Oh wait, that was Brady Bunch.
Mrs. Garrett. Mrs. Garrett.
I'd be John Boy. Oh wait, that's Partridge, right?
That's Walton's.
That's the Waltons. You were close. You were close.
I'd be Earl Sinclair. Wait, that's dinosaurs.
Ugh. I'll be John Connor.
Somebody not on the show.
D. Brad, not to ignore that awesome question from Matt Rodgers, but D. Brad, what inspires you for your artistic pursuits?
What inspires me? Maybe I have like adventures that happen in my head, and I need to get them out. So sometimes it'll be like a story I write out first, and then I design the characters. So I also get inspired by by the TV shows and movies I watch and comics I read. Um, and yeah, a lot of them are from my daydreams when I'm thinking about something else, especially in if I'm in a meeting. Like, I remember like even in high school, instead of paying attention, I was like dreaming up stories, like weekly episodes in my head. And then in the summertime, I developed movies. So what's great about being able to draw is you can make them come to life.
There you go. Yeah, I can relate to the kind of like the daydreaming and kind of making your own. It's almost like your own Truman Show in a way, and you're
Yeah.
the only person know that there's a a movie going on in your head in a way, and everyone else is living life, but in your head you're just like, oh, this is part of the cast.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Cool.
How about you?
Then you get upset when just like a background character says a word because then you have to pay them. So it's just like, oh, you're not supposed to talk.
I think the weirdest part about being an artistic individual, not to come off as pompous, but like the weirdest part that a lot of outsiders don't understand is like how passive you have to be. Like a lot of people tend to think that they're like the main character in their own story, as they go through their lives or whatever. But when you're like a cartoonist or an artist, you're like kind of on the sidelines and you're like watching stuff and taking in details that like non-artistic people generally don't pick up on.
Right.
Because you have to like put those things in there. You're sitting there like when I watch movies now, I'm like, that camera angle was cool. Or I'll be
Yeah.
like, the layout in that room, like,
Yeah.
it's interesting how they put that table there so that it like balances out the background in this scene, like weird stuff like that. Or you pay a lot more attention to like random people's body language so that you can incorporate that into your like background characters and stuff.
Right. Yeah, totally. You got it. That's exactly what I do.
Right. Yeah, so you're just like people watching is one of the best possible things.
Yeah. Especially behind bushes, looking in windows.
Hanging out in the trees with a camera.
Yeah. Telescopic lens.
Let's take a look at some of the drawings. D. Brad, can you kind of go through what are you on your? Is this the first one, or did you do one already?
I did one. Yeah.
My head was down most of the time.
I don't know what's better to show it. Sometimes I can't get the angle right. Maybe it's better on here. There.
Cool.
So it's based on Lee Marvin. This is a character that I have. I forget his name at the moment. It's not Parker.
Marvin Lee.
Marvin, that's it. It's Marvin Lee. Yeah. And I'm starting to work on Catwoman here.
Excellent. It
Darwyn.
doesn't look like Loop in the costume, but there's still time.
No, there is.
Let's jump over to Chris. I kind of want to give us a status of your drawing. Give us a little look at how Dr. Fate's coming out. If you want to talk about it.
Oh, sure. I don't know how well you can see it. Sorry. Hold on.
That's all right. Well, that's good there if you want to pan around it too. And cool.
Yeah.
And with selecting Dr. Fate, do you have an extra love for Dr. Fate? I know you think you had mentioned it early, just about you don't see too much Dr. Fate, but
Yeah, years ago it was funny when the Batman, the animated, or no, it was Superman, the animated series came out, and there was the Dr. Fate episode, and I was like, wow, it's really cool. At least they remember him. Seems like they didn't, they just totally left them out for such a long time. So I was just like, oh, cool. I just think he's an interesting character,
Yeah, he is.
The DC doesn't utilize as much sometimes. Along with the Spirit, or not the Spirit, Dead Man, and some of the other ones too.
Yeah.
I developed a friendship with a guy named Marty Pasco,
Oh yeah.
and he helped like reinvent Dr. Fate, and he was the one that came up with the idea that like he talks to the mask or the mask talks to him.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. He was a big he's the one that did that gigantic like suitcase sized history of DC Comics book that you would see sometimes that had like a handle on the case because
Oh
it
yeah.
was huge. And he did a lot of stuff in Hollywood. He won an Emmy because he wrote Mask of the Phantasm.
Ooh.
Oh wow.
So yeah, he was awesome. I got, well, just got a big old thumbs down on somebody's screen. Jeez.
See that?
I actually got in touch with him because he was on Word Balloon a whole bunch, and he would just talk all the time about like Julie Schwartz and like the old days. There he goes. And
Yeah,
it was
what
like
the
the
heck's
old
going
days
on?
at DC. And I like sent him an email and just kind of like hit it off with him and talked to him. And like before I ever like really made anything, I would send him test pitches because he was like trying to start up a business where he was gonna like help people out with pitches.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's
Oh,
great.
cool.
So I learned a lot from that. And but yeah, he was instrumental in the Dr. Fate that we know now.
Wow.
I have a um I said it last episode that the first superhero comic series I collected was the 70s version of the Justice Society, and so Dr. Fate came back in those ones. So I knew him when I was a little kid, Dr. Fate. So he has like a super cool costume. I just love his costume. It's pretty cool.
And he was the best part of Black Adam.
He was, yeah, yeah, yeah. The Justice Society they were in Black Adam. That's right. Yeah.
You mentioning, being a kid and seeing Dr. Fate or liking Dr. Fate, should Art and Franco do Kid Fate and do Kid Fate over at DC Comics?
They
That'd be a
could,
cool
yeah.
series.
Good.
Kid Itty Bitty Fate.
I think D-Brad should do Itty Bitty Fate.
There we go. All right,
Yeah.
Brad, you just got the job. So
All right. I'm in trouble with these goggles.
to finish up the rounds with the show and tell, I got way more done with the Buffy than I expected.
Oh cool.
But what was interesting is that all I can see, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it just keeps looking like Madonna to me. Like Madonna.
I can see
I can
that.
see some Madonna.
Yeah, I can see that. The dark eyebrows.
And I
And
think that only happens when an amateur artist, tries to draw like Darwyn Cooke, and then a beautiful Wonder Woman turned Buffy Summers turns into a pretty good Madonna's
Like-
Madonna the Vampire Slayer.
yeah, you just got to go back and read it and put in an insert where you say, tonight I'm going to be drawing a Darwyn Cooke style Madonna.
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah. Yeah, there's a pitch package I have for Netflix. I'm trying to get Madonna the Demon Slayer to be a series. So this is part of the pitch package. For that.
Lady Madonna.
All right, cool. I want to switch the gears back over to Chris O'Connell, and one of the show and tell items I had to grab right before we started the show because I forgot to add it to my pile. But at I think it was at Fan Expo Chicago of 2023, I had picked up this awesome, very large, kind of almost like portfolio size, Scary Comics 90 Years. Now, Chris, can you tell the audience what it is I'm holding and how this came to be?
Ryan and I wanted to hold on one second. I want to switch back if you don't mind.
Ryan Villa, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, Ryan Vila, like Bob.
Bob Vila.
Like Bob, because I give him all the time. That's why I was like, oh, it's Bob, like your cousin or whatever. I always give him a hard time about that. But it came about because we did a whole bunch of EC related I guess like covers. I guess that's what it would be, and we wanted to like tie it into a universe that we could create, so it would interest people into, you know, buying different aspects of comics. You know, starting with the EC artists, which sometimes people don't know about. You know, any of the Bill Gaines and all the other people that were within his wheelhouse of talent. I mean, God, it's so hard to even think. Sorry, as far as to the different artists that were.
Yeah, Wally Wood. Wally Wood was there.
Wood,
Harvey
yeah,
Kurtzman.
Feldstein. I mean, it's just amazing when you look at all the artists that were just in that bullpen. You know, most of them, like even the Severins, I think were part of EC Comics before they went to Marvel, right?
Yep. And then Cracked magazine.
Yeah. And it's just like it's just amazing, like how the lineage breaks off. So what we wanted to do was tie in kind of like horror comics with kaiju, like 70s, like aspects of
Man
like
in Suit.
Godzilla and everything else like that people loved as a kid, and then brought it into kind of the 90s like image and zombie stuff that was coming out in the 90s, like the Walking Dead and everything else like that, so that it could branch the barriers between different people's aspects within comics,
Mhm.
and also give a little bit of a storytelling through that, because if you read it, even though all those artists in there are fictional, they're still loosely based off of real artists and their experience within like different bullpens. That's all I could say. I don't want to I don't want to get myself
Sure.
I don't want to get myself in trouble.
Yeah, just kind of creating your own like bios and stuff like that, and just giving a little history lesson and stuff. It was a real interesting thing. I had meeting you at Skokie and seeing, I think I've got a sketch card or two that I had purchased from the Oh Yeah local artist binder. But then seeing you and Ryan at the table, and then just kind of seeing what you got, and I think I got because you said that if I'd purchased the book, then you had a print to go with it of like whatever print you wanted, and I'm trying to. I think I got this one here. This the one that kind of opens.
Oh, the Wolfman.
Yeah, I think that's the one. It's tucked away and preserved along with all of the other art prints at the moment. But
Awesome.
yeah, this is just such a unique creation. Now, if people, do you have any kind of setup? If people wanted to purchase this at all, do you have any kind of online stories? You just kind of reach out to your social media or something?
They can reach out to social media right now. I'm working on trying to get like a website, and I'm just trying to figure out what aspects of it and like how to get it done, because like I'm not sure if I want to do NFTs or not. There's so many different I have a few friends that sell NFTs, and I'm just like, I don't know, I'm still like kind of wavering on that.
Yeah.
That whole thing. So, but yeah, they can get a hold of myself through either Instagram or ArtStation. I think either be both of those. ArtStation, I think, has most of our or most of my information, but they can still get a hold of both of us through that as well.
In future, Anthony will throw up all that information in the screen, and it'll be in the bio and the and the whatever for the YouTube video and stuff, so people can get to those links and everything. So cool. All right, I'm gonna jump back.
Anthony will throw up.
Yeah, I heard that.
It's funny you say that, because there are times when I meant, and I catch myself saying, I didn't catch it this time, but there are other times when I find myself using that all the time. Like, oh, I'll throw up the image, and oh, I'll throw that up there. And I'm just like, man, I'm doing a lot of
Throwing up.
throwing.
Yeah, are you okay, Anthony?
I know, right? Yeah.
You don't have to throw up.
Okay, fair enough.
One of those moments. You make it? You okay?
We're gonna switch over to. We're gonna feel better because we're gonna switch over to some more Darwyn Cooke. So I wanted to go off. I had some show and tell. I mentioned the New Frontier that I've got the two trade paperbacks here that I have yet to read, but I've always admired his artwork because I would know Darwyn Cooke mostly through his friendship and collaboration with the Allreds, Mike and Laura Allred. They had worked together, they were friends, and some of the stuff that I had pulled here are some covers that Darwyn had worked on for Madman Atomic Comics number 14. So this is one of the variant covers that Darwyn did of Allred's Madman characters and all the atomics and everything like that. And when you see their art styles, very cartoony style that, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Darwyn maybe it filled in a couple times for interiors, not only for Allred stuff, but as well as like Allred working on the ecstatics. Because I think, Allred has a process where, sometimes he'll need, an extra month to get something done, and they'll have, like a fill-in artist. And whether he's working with Joe Quinones, I think he's worked with Darwyn Cooke and everything. Because when you notice, if you're really looking at it, you're like, okay, there's definitely a different artist here, but I think their styles work well with the Allreds style. Yes. It makes it for an easy transition. So if you're getting a fill-in artist, you're not going to be upset just being like, oh, it's drastically different or something. Probably when you're reading it too, it's very possible that it just may be similar enough to the point where a reader's just like, oh, they just pick up the next issue if they're not really into the knowing of the creators and the styles that working together like that. And then he also has a variant cover for Allred's It Girl and the Atomics for the miniseries that did there. So here is an It Girl that Darwyn has done there for a cover art. So yeah, a lot of my Darwyn's information comes through the love and the friendship they had with Mike and Laura, as well as like Jimmy Palmiotti and stuff, and Amanda Connor, talking about power couples in comics, the Allreds and Jimmy and Amanda. So like anytime I hear stories about Darwyn, it's usually coming from those folks. And so while I do have Darwyn's work and some of the DC stuff and Catwoman and this and that, kind of read the New Frontier, but I've definitely always had an appreciation for his style and just admiration of what he did and everything. And there's something, and we mentioned it, and I showed the cameo in the last episode of Cartoonist by Night where I was drawn into X-Ray Robot, and it's part of a scene that was actually Allred talked about it, that it was something that him and Darwyn were going to be working on and doing their own thing, and they had this concept for their own series. And unfortunately, due to Darwyn's passing, that they were unable to do anything with it. But he kind of took elements of that and incorporated into a scene in issue 3 of X-Ray Robot, which coincidentally is where I was drawn into. And hearing that story and just kind of the passion, how that scene has an extra connection for Allred because of Darwyn, that kind of just made me feel extra, thankful for just kind of being part of that little moment, just because it was just a little gem of an idea that never came to be for comics for them. But yeah, so that's where a lot of my Darwyn love came. So if we want to kind of go around, if there's anything else that we want to share, just kind of about Darwyn, if there's any facts or whatever, feel free for anyone to kind of jump in as we kind of dive back into some drawings here. But
yeah, he used to babysit me when I was a kid.
Okay, now there's a lot of facts that D. Brad has on this show here, and there's a certain point where I don't know if he's telling the truth or not. Was Darwyn your babysitter, or is that for humorous reasons?
Oh no, he didn't.
Okay,
I'm just trying to impress you.
You're such a liar.
I know.
I would actually believe that, like, one of the, like Gordon from Sesame Street probably, baby Brad. Like, I believe that D. Brad was a child on Sesame Street. It's just that seems like the mystery life that you have sometimes.
Right. Yeah. I think I talked about everything. He was going to work on something with Tim Sale, I read. But Tim Sale was too busy, and so then Darwyn was starting to work on it on his own. But he never got to finish it because that's when he passed away. So I'm trying to remember what it was called. I don't remember what that project was, but it would have been neat to see him work with Tim Sale.
Then Tim Sale, another one too that we lost
Yeah.
too soon as well. And Tim Sale, I have a lot of love for, and I just love his,
Yes.
Spider-Man Blue is
Yeah.
my favorite Spider-Man story that I've seen, and every time that comes out in certain editions and stuff, I
Well,
I'll find
are you
out.
familiar with Darwyn Cooke's Spider-Man Tangled Web?
I have not, but you had mentioned, I forget if that was on air or off air, but so is that something that he wrote and drew, or
For sure he drew it. I don't know if he wrote it, but yeah.
I'll have to when future Anthony goes through and edits the episode, I'll be writing that down. So Tangled Web.
Yeah, Tangled. I hope that's what it's called. Like I think I could probably just double check.
We'll find out one way or another. Cool. But yeah, that was the one thing when Chris had mentioned, Darwyn Cooke. I know everyone was going to be pretty excited. I know he's been mentioned on this show, in the past before and stuff. And I was mostly excited just because I didn't have any kind of vast knowledge beyond just the stuff I've already shown. So I'm always there's a lot to discover of his work yet that I have yet to do.
Yeah, it is called Tangled Web. Spider-Man's Tangled Web.
Oh, okay. So maybe Spider-Man was the writer and Darwyn was the artist then.
Yeah, and the one that he had pitched to do to Tim Sale was a Image comic called Revengeance.
Revengeance.
Yeah.
Cool name.
Huh. Yeah, that's a cool name. Yeah.
I like
I'm gonna steal it.
Yeah.
I'm not really.
Should future Anthony cut that out?
More lies.
So I wonder if that's gonna be a thing. Like if one day any of that stuff, like I don't, they might have had like 5 pages done of it or something.
Yeah.
Or like maybe it was scripted and eventually they'll put it out as like some sort of special thing, kind of like how they did the Death in the Family and they did the If Robin Lives version or whatever.
Right.
Finally published that after a million years. So
Yeah.
I always wonder.
You never know.
You never know.
I never do know.
No.
I never don't do know.
You never know.
You can't trust anybody.
No. Like
Especially D-Brand.
claiming babysitting.
I'm gonna.
Well, you're like a mythical creature, D-Brad. Like the sometimes the stories that you tell, they're completely believable because of your touched life that you've had.
Yeah, and I have goat legs too.
That actually is true. You're crazy.
It's all this stuff going on in the Savage Land, right?
Kazar, is that how you say
Yeah.
it?
These are spit everywhere. I noticed Dazzler's getting big again.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, with Dazzler, there's a lot of, it's been talked about a couple months ago, but the talk is happening again as we near Deadpool and Wolverine, the third Deadpool movie, because with Ryan Reynolds being friends with Taylor Swift and the director and Hugh and like all of them were at some sports ball game, sometime last year. And
sports ball game.
and And a lot of times when Marvel will republish, or you'll start seeing characters pop back into publication, and there's a new Dazzler thing that's been announced that's coming out. A lot of times that's kind of gearing up so that by the time there's like a trade paperback or something, it kind of coincides with an MCU related thing. And
Mm.
while it's still a secret and nothing's confirmed, but there's a lot of evidence leading towards Taylor Swift showing up in Deadpool and Wolverine as Dazzler, which I am all for. But
Yeah, she'd be perfect.
is there anything you want to add, Rogers, with bringing up Dazzler?
No, I just noticed one of the comic shops here in Ohio, they're in Columbus. They're called World's Greatest Comics. They're awesome. Um, every Tuesday night, they do a live stream where they're like, here's all the books that are going to be on the shelves tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And there was one week that they did it, and I think Dazzler was on the cover of at least 4 issues,
Oh,
Yeah.
just like showing up in places. And I think like I always heard the rumor that Lady Deadpool was going to show up.
lady.
Is that her name, Lady Deadpool?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and people had said Taylor Swift for that, and I was like, why would they get Taylor Swift for that when Ryan Reynolds' wife is an actress who's also blonde,
Yeah.
and she could play Lady Deadpool because we know that Dogpool is going to be in it.
Yeah.
But
So let's go to a special segment on Cartoonist by Night. An episode right after this is our second season, or year 2, if we want to use like comic book, terminology, year 2, volume 2. Chris O'Connell, this is a new segment that we're adding for this very show, which is Skull Talk with Chris O'Connell.
Ooh.
So if people check out your work, I'll probably put some of the images in post so people can see it. But you like drawing skulls, is that true?
Yes, that is true.
Can you kind of talk us through on just kind of your inspiration? Now, a lot of your stuff, like I don't see a lot of quote unquote fan art from you. I see a lot of just you're just designing new things, and I don't know if that's just once again through your love of album art and stuff, but like commission work or clients and stuff like that. Can you kind of give us just a little more insight on the kind of stuff that you create and you like to draw and everything?
Yeah, I do. Album artwork. I love obviously 80s. Like in before, like different what do I call it, skateboard artwork, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
And beyond. I mean, Jeff Phillips, like, and quite a few other guys were definitely influenced by Ed Roth, who is like still somewhat of inspiration, I guess, to everybody who's pretty much into that style of art. I'm actually working on a commission for a client right now for an Ed Roth piece with the Rat Fink, as everybody knows.
Yeah.
So it's coming along. It's one of those things that like I still want to understand like how he does stuff more so, because like even though you draw a lot over and over and over again until you kind of grab that person's style, but you also want to add like your own into it as well.
Mhm.
So that it's not like when somebody looks at it, this is like, oh well, this is a Ed Roth ripoff, or something. You want to say, no, I put my time and effort into doing something that's not only what the what I call it, the person who asked for the commission wants, but also put yourself in there. That's just I think every artist is different, but I think most of them probably feel the same way.
Mhm.
Yeah, kind of having less if you're commissioning a piece of work and not that the person asked for like, all right, I want this doing this in the background of this, and then this is clashing with this, like kind of giving an artist kind of trusting their own freedom to just be like, all right, give me the character and I'll just run with it. But I'm sure there's artists too that probably, do just like, just tell me what you want, and that way they can, satisfy the person. But yeah, I think that all just depends on artist to artist. Cool. I got some other questions here jumping into. So we already got the Hot Wing of Justice. So Lavi, former guest on the show, our friend Lavi, she
Hello.
chimed in. I
And Lavi.
reposted, I think, like maybe some kind of like scarab thing or something that you've drawn. I don't have the bio, but it kind of looks like some kind of beetle. I don't know what it is, but that's just a picture I used to prompt for questions.
What?
But Lavi, she goes, how does he do the magic that is his color palette? Can you kind of talk about your color palette work?
Yeah, that's a crazy question, just because like every time, most people like have like a certain palette they follow by, like if you look at Kyle, who we're friends with or whatever, you'll see he has like the purples or whatever is very sympathetic to what, he is intending. Mine changes like all the time. It's like whatever the piece calls for, that I want that image to pop more. So like I'll use purple, or I'll use, green or something, like whatever I feel like is gonna enhance it at the moment. And sometimes honestly it works out amazing. And there's other times I'm just like, oh well, now I gotta work on how to like just tweak it a little bit. And then it's there. But I don't know. Maybe I think every artist has like different palettes that they utilize that tries to make things easier for them. I tend to make things harder for myself sometimes, which is probably not the best. I'm always like pushing myself to do things that I'm like, oh, it's really making me uncomfortable. But
yeah, now you got to commit to it. You're already in it.
Right, exactly. I don't know. Maybe other artists are like that too, I'm assuming. It's kind of like testing new things, whether it's inking or color. I just like I'll use like a good for instance. A few months ago, I worked on something digitally, and it was the first time I did actual digital palette, and it was just purple and pink, and I can't remember I think it was like a whites and a few other, it was like 3 or 4 color, but it was just like trying to combine them all to make the piece like work. Because like I was doing sometimes I do like these things out of my head where I just use like ballpoint pen, and whatever comes out of my head, like I just have to like just build from there.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's fun. But I mean, I was trying to use that palette, and Ryan looked at me and was like, what are you doing? He's like, he's like, that should have only took you 4 hours to do it. I'm like, no, it took like 8. He's like, are you kidding me? I was like, yeah, like literally it did. Because like he's like, you could have simplified this and made this easier by doing this, and this. And I was just like, oh sure, now you tell me.
Would have been nice to know earlier.
Yeah.
Information could have been brought to my attention yesterday.
Yeah. So yeah, digital coloring can be good. There's other times it could be bad if you are just just letting your mind wander, I guess, is what it comes down to, right?
Yeah.
And
what do you use for your digital art? What program?
I mostly use Procreate.
Yeah.
I do, I've used Sketchbook to dump into the Procreate and some of the other programs, Clip Studio. Sometimes, but mostly now I use Procreate because it's a lot easier to use on the iPad for me.
You're right. Yeah. Yeah.
I guess it's whatever is there. I like Clip Studio though too.
Yeah. That's what I use. Yep.
We are a Clip Studio friendly show.
Yeah.
They're awesome.
And today's episode is sponsored by Clip Studio.
Yes, so use
Man,
the
I
promo
wish.
code Chris Loves Skulls and get a special discount. That
Do we get to see the skulls, Anthony?
say that again.
Do we get to see some of the skulls?
Post Anthony, future Anthony is going to throw that in there, but
Perfect.
yeah, I don't have.
Oh,
any.
and you wanted to know about that skull. That skull actually was, you'll like it. It was. Let's see. I was trying to see if I could find it. I did this skull a few years back that was like a cyborg like skull that had like these spikes that came out of his like head, and it was pretty neat. And it took me a few days to do it, obviously, because the inking was like obviously the hardest part in it for me. But once I completed it, I was like, well, let's just mess around and see what different things I could come up with. And one day I was really bored and I was like, oh man, what if I just took like this, combined it, and made it like two halves like meet each other and then just like exploded from like there. And it turned out to be this like, it looked like a beetle or a bug. And I was like, this is really kind of weird, but kind of cool at the same time because it really kind of messes with your your head. So I don't know. Sometimes I do things like that.
Yeah, man, noodling.
like-
You got to noodle sometimes.
Yeah.
Just got it.
Sometimes you got a canoodle.
I think other artists like I'm sure these guys do the same thing. I'm sure they're very talented at doing other styles as well. And once you play around in one style, you realize that like, oh, I can do abstract or I can do this, it's just like, I just have to mess around with it and see how it goes. And there's sometimes like, it turns out for your benefit. And other times you're just like, maybe that wasn't so good. I'll just put it on the side for now.
And just because you went into that process a little more in the background, I just pulled up the image so we can look at it live and react to it. Is this what you were talking about?
Ooh.
Yeah, like how it looks.
Super awesome.
Yeah, this is the one that Lavi I shared for the questioning. So this is the one where what kind of inspired her questioning, I assume.
Stare at it.
Yeah.
Look away.
It'll really mess you up after a while, right?
I think I see a sailboat. Is that a sailboat in there?
It's a
Could be.
Schooner.
Yeah.
A sailboat is a schooner.
Stupid head.
Boys, no.
Don't say the other part because if there's kids watching, we don't want to reveal the second half of that dialogue. So
I would never.
I would never. He's keeping it PG right now, right?
They can email me if they're curious.
PG-14, isn't that what it is?
So since I was going through the share screen, I was going to bring up some of the Darwyn Cooke stuff that Chris had shared with me. I just have to open up these files into my background so that I could very casually go through. So we will be done in a couple seconds. This is me just buying time, making it.
There's what I got so far.
There we go. Thank you for the show and tell.
Right.
Beautiful.
It's like my own inks.
There we go. And before I cue that up, can you talk about your working relationship with Ryan and like the things that you collaborate on? Is there certain things that you both contribute art to? Like, how do you, can you kind of talk about that dynamic and maybe how you and Ryan kind of found this partnership with working, and you guys will table together at Fan Expo and things like that. And so can you kind of just talk about that a little more?
Oh yeah. Trying to think of like how long ago. So we've known Ryan and I have known each other for like 10 years, and we've worked on a few projects. I'll get up in a second and I'll actually show you some of the other things that we've worked on together, just so like if you want, you can add that to like the the video as well. A few years back, I was or actually we were commissioned by a group that was out of, I think they're out of Oak Brook, and it's called Recovery International. And the woman who asked us to do, it was like a 5-page comic book that we did. It was, they actually called it a workbook. It's like what their terminology was. And what it was supposed to do was, during the time of the pandemic, it was supposed to help kids who have anxiety issues. I don't know if you know that Ryan's day job is, he is a teacher. So teaches students who are have disabilities. And so it kind of hit both of us. I have anxiety issues, so it really hit home for me, because like obviously that I like to see people do all right. I know that there's sometimes we all go through different problems, depression, anxiety, whatever it is, but we wanted something to be more of a positive thing. So we helped her through this, project that she had. And we completed it within, I think it was like 6 months. And we did the cover for the book as well. I think you can buy it on Amazon too. We didn't do the whole book, but we did like 5 pages of it, I think, in the cover.
What's the book called?
Hold on 1 second, if you don't mind. I'll get it.
Holding for 1 second. 1 second is up. Now what do we do?
Is this my chance to sing?
Yeah, go for
it. Is that Felix the cat on the back poster there? Am I looking at that right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Looks like it could be.
I'm old school. I love Felix the cat. Yeah.
Felix the
So
cat.
it's called Power Your Mind: Tools to Build Resilience.
Oh.
I don't know if you can see it or not.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's the cover that we did for the book.
Nice.
We colored it and everything else. So
Wonderful.
then I think we did a few interior pages. Yeah. There's one of them.
Cool.
Nice. That's awesome. I like the border style.
Yeah, he wanted to have like kind of like a free form kind of bleed over. So
Very cool.
Love it.
Yeah.
I just love it.
Like it.
And then this one's at the mall. I don't know if you can see that or not. I don't know.
Yeah.
In the shop.
Very nice.
Then I think there's one more with oh no, there's 2 more. Because either the coffee shop one, which is hysterical, because we actually used the coffee shop that we were at.
Oh yeah. Product placement.
Very cool.
Yeah. Of course, they probably won't know.
Unless they're watching or they're now in Beverly, Massachusetts through bevcam.org, which people
And
are
then there's one of the last ones.
oh, cool.
With a girl who wants to go to prom and whatnot.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I didn't know that that existed, but yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, so we did that. I mean, obviously it's not all our artwork, you know. Oh, I forgot we did this one too, the one with the grocery store. So forgot. So I guess we did do like one more.
That's
It's
great.
like all split.
So that's like you said that it's for like social anxiety kind of stuff.
Yeah, it was a workbook. I guess she called it. I didn't really know about it, the whole dynamics of it, because the group Recovery International, I guess from what it says here, is a better mental health. So I don't know if you can see it like right there. It says like
Okay.
yeah. So
Cool.
I guess they're supposed to help out, you know, people who have you know, different problems, you know, not only I don't know if it's teenagers, it might even be adults too.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I know that
it's
pandemic definitely did not help that whole situation.
no.
Mental health, like I never personally had any sort of anxiety disorders or anything like that, and like just the pandemic and the shutdowns and just like the paranoia about if I go out to buy groceries, am I going to get sick? Like that stuff made me experience that for the first time in my life.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
just suddenly, like, you know, that lump that you get in your throat because you're just like super anxious and you don't, and you know, like a borderline, like go 5% more and you're gonna have a panic attack sort of situation.
Yeah.
And I've never experienced that in my life, and it's like something that I still deal with sometimes because it hasn't completely gone away just because of the whole situation.
No, unfortunately it never does. It's just like learning how to handle it is a big part of it. I used to play music for a long time and had really bad anxiety, like with, you know, getting on stage.
Mhm.
And the first 20 minutes were just excruciating, you know, like because my hands would just almost like seize up, and I'm playing bass, you know, and I'm like sitting there on stage just going like, am I gonna make it? And I'm like, just calm down, just calm down. You're not the singer, so you just have to play a bass lines, which, you know, isn't easy, but you're following whatever, you know, basically you're doing whatever you need to do, you know,
Right.
to make things work. And yeah, there was a few times where it was really rough. Not gonna lie. I mean, I had to, you know, just learn a lot of meditation techniques and everything else like that. And
I just repeatedly tell myself, you've done this a
yeah,
million times. You're gonna be fine.
exactly. Yeah, just don't let your hand seize up, because honestly, like that's the worst thing you could do, whether you're an artist or a musician, is like as soon as your playing hand seizes up, it's just like, or picking hand, you're just like, oh, that's it, I'm done. And people look at you and you're just they what is good, because like people don't know that you're like experiencing that. But the problem is, it's like you don't want to tell people afterwards, you know. I don't know, maybe our country is different than like, you know, Canada. I think like Canadians are a little bit more, and I hate to say this, they're a lot more aware of mental health issues and how to handle them better than we are. Because like when I lived in Toronto, honestly, I had no idea that there was a kid in my neighborhood that like had, you know, mental health issues. And like I just was kind of oblivious at first. And the people, you know, at Sobeys, the place where I used to go to like shop at, like we're like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, this kid has like health issues, like he needs to just like come into the, you know, grocery store, get his stuff and go home. Like they almost looked at me like, don't you know any better? And I felt like saying like, I'm an American. Like, sorry, I feel like an idiot because like I don't realize that like so many things are so much different than how we handle things, because like their healthcare system isn't built around like pharmaceutical products or anything else. I don't want to get into like corporate stuff. That's not my thing, but they have a different way of handling mental health issues, I guess, and they just don't throw pharmaceutical products at everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all that was very important and everything, but I have the unfortunate task to have a segue.
You're gonna cut that out of it. Sorry.
Oh no, it'll stay in. But I have a segue to Eric Wolfgang. He asked, in case of a fire, what's the one book you're saving from your collection?
Ooh.
So not to add any extra anxiety, but now there's a fire in the house and you have to save one book. Anyone can, if they come up with it, we don't have to.
Oh, he's just talking about everyone in general.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll start. Well, if you guys need to think, but I have I love the Silver Surfer, my favorite superhero character, and I do have the first appearance in Fantastic Four number 48 from 1966. And I love that book. It's a reader copy, and I did get it signed by Stan Lee in person and everything, but I still open it up and flip through and show the people. And every time I show people, they're like, "What are you doing? Why isn't that behind glass and slabbed and all this kind of stuff?" I'm like, "Well, it's a comic book. I want to read it. Here, look the first panel of Silver Surfer." So that's a book that I just I'll just toss across the room if I want, if I need to. But that is my book that in a case of a fire, I'll be running to that one.
So only if there's a fire.
Only.
Oh, if there's fire.
If there's anything else, I'm gonna let it I don't care what
anything else, you'll throw it across the room.
Man, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't know if I would save any of my books from a fire.
Yeah, just get out of there.
Right. I mean, I have a bunch of like signed stuff from like the Oh Yeah guys that I would be bummed, but I know that they'd be willing to sign more for me.
Yeah. Except they'll probably charge you now just knowing that you didn't take care of the first one. So
I might save my happy comps because those are like important to me.
Yeah, I thought about saying saving the Legend of Abraham Linkage, but adding a little heat to that sausage there just make it even bigger.
Linkage.
That's just one of those where I'm like, hot link. I just want it to be hotter.
Hot link.
Man.
He had plenty of those to go around when he had well, you were there, weren't you?
I was there. Honestly, it was probably the best day of my life. So it was
be careful. Hopefully you didn't have heartburn.
Oh, that was pretty good. So yeah,
that's good.
Yep.
I wasn't sure because there was quite a few varieties of hot link, wasn't there? If I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think so. And whenever he brings, I think he had some heralds there too. But
oh yeah.
But even if it was, a bad case of heartburn, it would still be the best case of heartburn because it was in honor of Abraham Linkage. So.
Wow.
That's a really funny one. I love that one.
I try to mention it every now and then, but yeah, it's my favorite thing, I think.
Yeah, Abraham Linkage is awesome.
Taco bats.
Oh no.
Taco.
I don't know if I'd what to save. A hand of something.
Autographs. All your autographs.
Oh yeah, I guess that counts as books, eh? I can grab those, sure.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if they count as books, but I understand.
Does it have to be a book, or could it actually be like artwork or something?
Autographs are in a book.
Oh, okay. So, well, then that's different.
There you go.
Because I got like this amazing piece a few years. What was it? 2019. Ryan and I went to C2E2, and Claudio Castellini was actually there, and I got a signed Silver Surfer that he did.
Ooh.
It's pretty awesome. I don't know. That one I might have, even though I know it's a a print, and I could probably get another one. It's pretty neat.
I'm gonna add on to my answer while I go save. If you have a fire, I'm going to go save that for you. So to me, Chris's print, and then there it is.
If you, I'll see if I've got it actually. I might have it. Yeah.
If you don't find it, it's because I've already taken it from you.
There you go.
Ooh,
You can see it.
yeah. If you just kind of tilt it a little bit, it's usually that kind of. There we go. Perfect.
Oh, neat.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's
Beautiful.
It's like almost like John Buscema on steroids or something. It's pretty wild.
Very cool.
Then I forgot I got like a Jim Terry print of on the back.
Oh, nice.
Conan.
Ooh.
Oh, love some Conan. Have you been reading Savage Sword?
No, actually, I just picked up the free one and I was like, wow, this is really good.
Yeah, dude, it's so awesome. I picked up the first 2 issues. Is the free comic book day one? Is it printed on like old newsprint and stuff?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
They're oversized.
Nice.
And it's so awesome. I was expecting it just to be a comic. I didn't realize that it was like split up into a bunch of like short comics, and then there's prose work in it too, and like pinups. And,
Oh yeah.
Patrick Zerker's doing a what's that guy's name? Solomon Kane? Is that his name?
Yeah, that's his name. Yep.
Yeah, Solomon Kane.
He's doing a story for him because he was doing Savage Avengers until Marvel lost the Conan rights.
Oh.
Yeah. He's doing the so good. So good.
Oh yeah.
That dude's awesome.
I'm gonna jump over to the Darwyn Cooke share screen. Just some images that Chris had shared with me. For anybody that doesn't know, especially with artists and writers, a lot of times you don't know the people, so we do have some pictures of Darwyn as well. Once again, tragically lost the battle of the cancer at a young age. He was early 50s, 53, 54, something like that.
He it was May 14th, a few days ago.
Oh, really?
Anniversary, yeah.
But yeah, definitely a big loss for the industry there. And going to go through these images I've queued up. There's another one that he shared. Who are we looking at here?
Yeah. Yellow.
That's part of the Parker series, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Looks like it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Definitely Parker. Is that from that's not the Hunter, is it? No, the Hunter was blue.
This one, this one intrigued me. Is this a Martian Manhunter thing?
Yeah,
Yep.
it's from New Frontier.
New Frontier.
Oh, really? So I have this in my book somewhere.
You do.
He's one of the main characters in it.
Really? Wow.
He's actually in the movie too.
Yeah. He shapeshifts a lot when you first meet him in the book.
Yeah.
He turns into Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
He
excited.
he learns everything about being a human by watching television.
Just like me. Just like me.
That's what Drax the Destroyer in the I think it was in the 90s Guardians. I forget if it was part of the Guardians team or not, but there were some Drax stories where he was all just like dumb and everything like that, and he was watching a lot of television, and he would watch Elf and stuff like that, and that's when like Marvel had like the license for the Elf books and everything. But yeah, there's some panels out there of Drax and stuff just chilling, watching TV while like all the Infinity Gauntlet stuff's going on or something, like all this stuff where you could need a Drax the Destroyer, but he's just watching TV the whole time. So cool.
Awesome.
Great. Now future Anthony has to track down those images. Why did I say that? Hopefully, if I just type in Drax Elf TV, hopefully that'll pop up. We're going to jump over to another image here of Darwyn there.
Yeah. That's the one. That's the one I was going to do a drawing of, but he has his arms crossed. Looks cool.
Yeah, it was.
Here's a
Like
weird
he's at a
question.
carnival.
Here's a weird one for you. Did he ever just rock a mustache?
There's pictures of him with like a mustache and beard.
Mustache and beard. Okay, because I see him in my mind. I see him with just a mustache, but
Oh yeah.
I might be. I could be wrong. I probably am.
No, I don't think he'll have just a mustache. Maybe when he was 13.
Oh, look at it. So good.
And here's an awesome Batman piece here.
Oh yeah.
He's so good at the
Everything.
negative space and
To say shadow work and like
shadow. Yeah, yeah. That's gonna be tricky for this Catwoman. That's why I'm not inking it yet.
Yeah.
Because I have to learn how to do this.
well, if you find it difficult, just turn that Catwoman into Madonna, and then you'll be good.
You got it. Or I'll turn her into a cat from the movie Cats.
There you
go. All right, going through the images here. Here's another cool image here of Darwyn.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Such a cool dude.
Got some stubble goatee going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's another Allred story that just came to mind when he kind of talked about his friendship with him, that there were times that I think either they were in hotel rooms for a convention or he came over to Allred's house or vice versa, but they would just draw back and forth where if they're just in normal conversation and they're just drawing for fun, that one of them would draw something on a page and then just slide it across the coffee table, and the other would pick it up and start adding to it, and they would just kind of go back and forth, like just such a cool friendship for with artists, and kind of a really cool thing to do. I kind of like that idea. That'd be a fun thing to kind of participate in sometime, and just kind of that draw a little something here and then throw it over to your artist friend, have them add something, go back.
Yeah,
it just kind of once again, all my stories just come through listening to Allred stories about it, and he has said those in any of his interviews, and he hasn't done a lot of Michael Allred. He hasn't done a lot of video interviews, so it'd probably be pretty easy to find one where he's talking about Darwyn for sure. So,
oh
yeah. Here's a Superman piece.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
That might be the least looking Darwyn Cooke artwork I've ever seen. I mean,
that's Jack Kirby hands there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like aspects of he's got aspects of Ditko too, where that Spider-Man one where he's like lifting the
sure.
Like the most lines I've ever seen on a figure.
I don't know. Was it Ditko or was it Ramita? I think it was like one of the early Spider-Mans.
Yeah, I know which one you mean.
Yeah. They did a little homage to it in Homecoming, I think, Spider-Man Homecoming, where they kind of did a little nod to that.
I mean, obviously, like you said, it's definitely Kirby influence, but it definitely has like the almost like the layout of Ditko for a minute.
Then is this another?
That's from Parker.
Yeah,
that's the Hunter.
Hunter on the back, on the bottom.
Yeah,
so good.
Yeah,
so good.
There's no dialogue. It's on page 20.
Yeah,
like he's just walking through town.
And that's a rare panel border as well. He doesn't usually use those in the Parker books.
Yeah, it's the color. The color makes the borders.
Yeah, because it's like you got just no black line borders at all.
I'm gonna close this just so we can see that a little better.
Yeah, why don't you close that? See that? No borders.
Get that Darwyn Cooke art out of here to show some more Darwyn.
Oh, it's so good. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, he's so great at framing things.
I mean, just like something like this, a night city that's just black ink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, God.
Wow.
Yeah. I know this is off topic because you mentioned something that was interesting. I don't know if you guys have ever read Lady Killer with Joan Jones.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I actually do have
that is really good. Her artwork is just amazing. I think she did the writing as well. But
Yeah, she's
And if I'm not mistaken, I think Laura Allred colored the work, or at least some of it. Because I know
that makes sense.
I know they've worked together on several things. They kind of have the very few times that Laura is coloring other than her husband's work, it's usually with Joelle. But yeah, I've got some Lady Killer in some trade paperbacks, I think, and then I bought there's like an oversized collection that came out within the last couple of years or something, and I've got that. And bringing it's very on topic because we mentioned Blake Lively early on, and it was maybe a year or two ago, but they had announced that they had like made a deal to bring Lady Killer to, I think, television with Blake Lively. Now, when they make those kind of deals, I haven't heard about anything since. So, and plus with all the writer strikes and all that stuff, who knows where the status of that is? But yeah. So it turned out it was on topic because Blake Lively was mentioned earlier in this episode.
Oh, okay.
Which allows me to talk about these pants I got in the mail from my friend, and they just happen to fit perfectly. So,
what?
No branding cue there.
Yeah, it's kind of a brotherhood that we have, with these pants that are just.
The traveling pants. Okay.
Yep, just trying to keep it all on topic.
Took me a while, but not too long, I guess.
This episode just somehow turned into like a Mr. Show sketch where everything just bleeds into the next, to the next thing, into the next thing.
Yeah.
Next one.
I've been meaning to rewatch Mr. Show, so that's future Anthony now heard this, and now he's going to go set his DVDs aside when I hear this later.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay, good.
Use future Anthony for lots of things now.
That's exactly. It's like how you would, when I answering machines at home, when you would call and, remind yourself of, certain messages. I use that through Cartoonist by Night. That's why the show exists. It's just a reminder.
Timetable, reminders.
Future Anthony, you need more milk as well. So
yeah. On your way home.
Which is weird because future Anthony, edits this where I'm sitting right now, so it doesn't actually help. So I just think I just have more freedom of reaching for a piece of paper, says the guy surrounded by paper and art supplies. Anyways,
yeah.
So yeah, that's the end of that little share screen there. I'm gonna go through because we'll be bringing this train into the station very soon here. So let me see.
That's what I got so far. I don't know if you can see
yeah,
it.
yeah, good. Thank you for reminding me to check it out. There we go.
Nice.
Here's a good question. Have you drawn Dr. Fate before?
Actually, not really. Well, I have, but not like based off of somebody else's, style specifically.
Cool.
Most of the time, you usually use like a whole bunch of different references, but it's cool. I mean, at least I'm pushing some of the Kirby aspects and some of the other things that are interesting within his style.
Awesome. We have a new comment here. I'm not familiar with the name here, but we have Roderick Sloan. Who?
Roderick.
You know Roderick?
No.
That's how believable Deep Red is.
Oh yeah.
Great actor. Great actor, Deep Red. But yeah, he's a cartoonist and writer who writes and illustrates his own stories and self-publishes. But they follow Cartoonist by Night account. I'm not sure if they have any connection or if they just stumbled upon it or maybe picked up an ad from the Santo Sisters comic, maybe. But anyways, Roderick here just wanted to comment on Darwyn Cooke and just simply saying his artwork was amazing. So I wanted to include that, especially with having a new commenter there. So thank you.
Welcome, Roderick.
Yeah, thank you, Roderick, for writing in on the show there. And holy crap, everything is harkening back to something else that is mentioned because I screen capped his his profile so I can go in a little closer and just get that information. But I didn't look at any of the stuff yet because this happened right before the show. And I kid you not, look what is one of the pictures that is on Earl Sinclair.
Oh, it's amazing.
Nice.
It's
That.
that is astounding. So, man. I'm just hoping we didn't say the name Earl Sinclair more than we did Darwyn Cooke, but just in case, Darwyn Cooke, Darwyn Cooke.
Darwyn Cooke, Earl Sinclair. Darwyn Cooke, Darwyn Cooke, Darwyn Cooke, Earl Sinclair.
All right. Keep
Okay.
yep. Still keeping them both mentioned, but giving Darwyn some more. Thank you. There we go. So I think that exhausts all of the questions I wanted to. Well, not that I want all the ones that people submitted. That just made it sound like I cherry picked them all, but no, everyone that.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? There was one that was left over. Is Brian once again from Hot Wing of Justice, and once again it was on the picture of all of us looking sad. He just goes, "What makes these happy dudes happy?" I'll kick it off. What makes me happy is hanging out with my cartoonist friends here on Cartoonist by Night. As we, kicking off officially, year 2, season 2, volume 2, whatever you want to call it. We celebrated, D. Brad being inducted into the Cartoonist by Night cast, and we've seen his awesome title card in the last episode as well as the beginning of this one here. But yeah, it truly is a lot of fun hanging out and drawing, especially an episode like this where I probably drew quicker than I normally do. Even though my drawing turned out to look like Madonna, which I didn't intend to. I'm still fairly happy with it. I'll add a couple details and stuff. I'll show this.
That Madonna drawing.
So I was just going to show where I kind of left it here because I've been off of my drawing screen for a while. So yeah, I left my Madonna, the vampire slayer. And
Nice.
so yeah, I guess this will be available at my next show, which I'll advertise is June 15th, which is at Romy's Nightingale in Black Creek, Wisconsin through Comicverse. I've done several of the Comicverse events in the Wisconsin area. Just the small.
There's a Black Creek near me.
Say that again.
There's a Black Creek near me.
Oh, I better check the directions because maybe it is, and I booked it in Canada, so my travels are going to be way more expensive than my table fee there. So
you're going to need to get your passport.
Yeah,
that is true. I've never been out of my house before, so I'm going to need a passport.
You're gonna need some loonies and toonies too.
Yeah.
Well, I just did get Looney Tunes issue number 278 from the shop. That count?
Yeah, that counts. That counts. Yeah.
Good.
That's just as good as money.
True.
So yeah, I guess this Madonna the Vampire Slayer will be available to purchase at my next event. It's a good segue to because this will be sliding right into the sketch card book. But yeah, that's truly what makes me happy. Let's jump over to Chris O'Connell, and you can what truly makes you a happy dude? What makes you happy?
Comics.
Great answer.
Artwork. I don't. Anything. Music. Anything that's like. I don't know. It's nice to get like all of that from different people, and you know how it goes.
Yeah.
I think that'll make life more interesting. It's a good gift that keeps on giving, right?
Yep. Yeah, no matter what happens, there's always a brand new comic that's coming out, every minute, every hour, when you're including web comics and everything like that and self-publishing, that we'll never have enough comics to there's more comics than there is time to read them. But that's an awesome gift to continue. I don't know why I'm going on this rant, but I don't know. Let's jump over to Matt Rodgers. What truly makes you a happy dude? Is it Happy Astronaut number 5 being on store shelves?
That helps, yeah. It's funny because like I think I've touched on this before, but the delay in publishing is so bizarre because when my books come out and I finally see them, I don't even remember making them. because it's been so long since I've had anything to do with them. So then I like flip through them and I'm just
brand
like,
new to
man, this is a really good book. That's the
know you-
best part is like seeing my own personal like improvement.
Mhm.
Like book 5 is seriously like the best comic that I've done so far.
Oh, good.
So I'm super happy with how that one turned out.
And I remember you saying, I think in the last episode, where you said the soon to be announced project. By the next time we record, hopefully we can say it. But saying that it's your best work, if I'm not
Oh
mistaken.
my gosh, so good. I'm definitely like, it's one of those things where forcing yourself outside of your comfort zone and having to do things differently ends up working out for once. Because there's sometimes where I'll be like, I need to do this, and then I'm like, I'm in over my head, I screwed up. But no, this book is turning out really, really, really good.
I can't wait for the world to check it out and for to pre-order it and do all that stuff. But we'll be covering that when that can be covered. So maybe by the next
Red
time.
carpet event.
What's that?
We'll have a red carpet event.
Oh yeah, there we go.
There you
Ooh.
go.
Red is for blood.
Yeah. Because it's gonna be bloody.
Bloody.
As long as it's
Alright.
not part of Red Room or something, we're okay. Sorry. Should have thrown that one in too
Well,
early.
Well, take a look. Rodgers just had that next to him there.
What
So
is,
Oh, there you go.
Wow.
look how quick he
Like
had
it's like I was almost thinking the same thing. Yeah.
it's not that messed up. It's more Liefeld bloody, not piss score bloody.
No. No.
I
Uh,
don't
jump over to D Brad. What makes D Brad a happy dude?
Can I guess?
I know what he's gonna guess too.
Can I guess?
Can I take a stab at it?
I know
Okay,
what
go
you're
for
gonna-
it.
Go ahead.
Cartoon ducks.
I knew it. I knew it. Quack,
Yeah.
quack.
Cartoons definitely make me happy, and I also enjoy kittens and cats. They make me
Okay.
happy.
Yeah.
I got 4 kittens
I was gonna say there's
in the
some
house.
kittens in the house.
Temporarily in the house. They're just stopping by, but they're really fun.
What names did he settle on those?
They're named after the Ninja Turtles. So we
Nice.
got Mikey, Donnie, Leo, and Raffy, or Raph.
Yeah. A little too raff.
Yeah.
You Rodgers, I knew you would smile at that.
Do you give them
And
do you give them
Hold on.
traditional pre-fight donuts?
then hanging out with my family, they're fun. I enjoy them. They make me happy.
You just got another look at Chris O'Connell's Dr. Fate, which you might want to hold it up one more time as I
Oh,
call
yeah.
One more time.
one more time. There we go.
Lovely.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I love it.
And also just because looking at the size there, is there a certain size preference that you like working on? And I mean, we talked about sketch cards, I think off air or something, but is there a certain, size that you prefer to work on canvas?
I think we've used like 11 by 17. You know, it's usually easier to work with something a little bit bigger. Most, I wouldn't say all artists, but a lot of the comic book artists like start at 11 by 17 Bristol board. And then work their way up or work their way down, whichever one, but it's usually work their way up.
I should start doing that, but still do the size of the sketch card and just leave all that empty space. So
Yeah.
I can just have my huge portfolios, but it's huge pieces of paper, but just tiny little Madonna drawings. So.
I
it
have
definitely helps.
to go just for a second, or a minute, 2 minutes, 1 minute.
Oh, geez.
Teen Yoda.
That's over there in Canada. So yeah.
Just for that was a quick reference.
Yeah.
Is that a Slurpees holding, or is he hanging out at Tim's?
Yeah, Tim Hortons get some of the what do they call those donut holes that they have there? The
Timbits.
Timbits.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jeez. savages over here.
Yeah.
He's a professional hockey player,
Sweet. There you go.
in case you didn't know.
Who is?
D.
Tim
Brett.
Horton. Tim Horton
Tim.
was a professional hockey
Tim
player.
was, yeah.
Died in a car crash.
Oh, I didn't know that. It's terrible.
I'm gonna bring it all down.
Yep. I was gonna.
Because his family took it over, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Until they sold it off to like a bigger, obviously, company.
Probably ruined it.
Yeah.
Somebody.
No.
Oh,
But we'll take this moment here because we are wrapping up to thank Chris O'Connell. I'm not sure what if T. Brad's just going to come back with more, food and beverages or whatever. But,
can I say one thing? Sorry, before I
jump right in.
Not the Adam Crone and I are doing a show together. We're tabling together at Comicopolis, just in case anybody wants to know. In July, it's like July 20th, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll get all the exact information. I'll put that in there too, in case it's a different date. But yeah, I was looking into that because I'm debating if I show up and hang out that day or not. And that's look at that! This was worth the wait. Look what.
Oh, there you go.
which one's that?
Sweet.
This is Raph.
Nice.
It's got red on the collar. He was curious to come in.
Nice.
There's Ryan's favorite, Raphael. I'm more of the Don guy.
Well, we did a whole Ninja Turtles episode of Cartoonist by Night pretty early on in the show. I'm Leonardo myself. That's my go-to.
I like Don because he's like the tech nerd.
There you go.
He helps everybody get out of jams. I'm kind of that guy. By night is like different story.
Yeah. By night, you're just eating pizza, and that's all you care about.
Exactly. That's all they should do, right?
But yeah, once again, we'll get that information for your upcoming table space there. Are you guys going to be at Fan Expo this year at all? Do you know?
Yeah, Fan Expo. I think Ryan is getting the table again, if I'm not mistaken.
And Lavi is going to be there, past guest and friend of the show. She's that's going to be her first table. So I'm excited to
congrats to her.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I'll be there hanging out, and I'm gonna hopefully plan to be there for a couple days just because I like the Rosemont area and the travel and stuff like that. It's a little easy.
A lot of the DC artists are going to be there. Some of the Image.
Yeah, and they've been really getting better and better with since Fan Expo has taken over from.
The lineup is getting a lot better. Because I know, like, when I used to live in Toronto, the Fan Expo up there was just like, it was off the hook. It was like one of the bigger shows. That and the TCAF were like the two biggest shows I think they had over in the Toronto, the GTA, I guess you'd say. Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Or does he mean Greater Toronto area?
Yep, you got it.
Just figured that out. So
I knew you would get there.
Yep.
You'd get there.
Whenever I try to think of like acronyms and stuff, I always just say randomly. I just go Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
Even
so
if it's
he has to. So D. Brad has to answer our questions about Timbits then.
Oh, what about him?
Yeah, we talked about Canada when you were gone.
Did you?
He was out.
What was the question?
I thought I thought you had something that threw in Timbits, wasn't it? That Matt, I think it was either Matt threw in, and you're.
Oh, we were talking about the what Teen Yoda was drinking in there, and we're wondering if that was a Slurpee cup or if it was something from Tim Hortons. The Teen Yoda that shows up when you turn off your video.
Oh, no, actually, that's an American convenience store, Circle K.
Oh, wow.
Strange things are afoot.
Circle K. We had a Canadian convenience store called Max, and that got bought out by Circle K. So you're taking over.
And if you read if you read the Kamala Khan Ms. Marvel comics, then you have the Circle Q.
Oh yeah.
Circle Q.
Oh, it's great.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But yeah, good stuff.
That's awesome.
But yeah,
All right.
anyways, once again, I'll just do the official wrap up here. Thank you for hanging out with us, Chris. It was exciting. You had given me a call and you were kind of talking about Cartoonist by Night, not too long ago, just kind of, just kind of hearing about it, learning about it and stuff like that. And we're like, well, we have a list of people who want to get on, and we kind of cycle through that list. And, some people can't make it due to some shows, and we're always kind of rebooking and things like that. And all of a sudden I'm like, you know what, I'll reach out to Chris now and kind of bump him up on the ladder there. And I was happy to see you to accept that invite and hang out and kind of learn about your work, and definitely talk about Darwyn Cooke. So thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it.
But yeah, it's been pretty cool, hanging out, when I head down to Skokie, hang out for some events, and seeing all the familiar faces, whether they're the customers and the local artists and stuff. And Chris is definitely part of that group, and pretty early on, just kind of hanging out and talking and chilling. And it didn't take too long where I felt very welcomed into that community, and to the point where there's a certain level where I'm just like, the way everyone's kind of greeting me and talking to me and stuff, it just made me feel like oh, I guess I'm part of this thing now, rather than just being like, oh, you remember me. And so it's always feels good. And Chris is one of those members that is very welcoming to me when I'm hanging down there. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I think if I ever show up to Skokie, in old westerns how like the bad guy kicked open the saloon door and everybody stopped. Like,
Reach for
like,
is a tumbleweed gonna go past you too when that happens?
yeah, and everybody's gonna be like, oh, what about the fence? Because I'm always on that fence.
Yeah. Adam Crone.
Yeah, Adam. Matt, are you sure it's not a Tex Avery moment where he kicks open the door? Gonna be the root this to this.
Oh man, that reminds me of my all-time favorite cartoon of Droopy.
Oh wow,
Droopy.
Yeah, Droopy by Tex Avery. There's a great Western one. It's just hilarious. Oh, it's so slapstick and like characters getting hit by nails, and it's just like, wow, I love it.
All right, well,
Anthony will put the title card on there.
Okay,
I'll get it for you.
Thank you, and I'll remind you if you don't. That's what future Anthony does. Does all that work, so I don't have to in this moment. So once again, thank you very much. Another great episode. It's hang out, talk about Darwyn, and draw Darwyn related things. And we're going to end this episode like we do every episode, considering the sun is starting to come up. So it's time to get back to our day jobs.
Yeah. Anthony, I can see you in the mirror. You're in the mirror universe.
Oh, and I'm seeing you when you say that, because it must have been speaker view or something. Oh, yeah. Now it's
here.
There I am. Hey, there we go.
Anthony, you're in the mirrorverse.
I'm stuck. I think
you're next to the Skull Destroyer poster that I got. Because I think Joe's actually wearing one of the shirts, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I made him up through Instagram, as you can see. Right? Oh man, I might have to back up.
So your design here?
Oh
yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
same goes.
Shamrock shakes are a beautiful green, the most beautiful green that you've ever seen.